Ever wondered about what true love, happiness, romance, and marriage is? No need to wonder anymore. And it doesn't cost 1 penny to enjoy and grow. You can even watch it on Facebook and YouTube. No More Dirty Inc. No matter whether you are single, divorced, widowed, or undecided about getting involved anymore, this is a virtual experience you don't want to miss. The Keys to True Love, Happiness, Romance, and Marriage, hosted by Fred Whitlow II, featuring 4 dynamic couples, Kenny and Kenya Green, Cory and Raven Baker, Ardella and Michael Vance, and Will and Tiffany Martin, sharing tips and best practices that work. Don't miss this virtual experience live at No More Dirty Inc. on Facebook and YouTube. Together, let's all discover the keys from 4 amazing, healthy, long-lasting couples.
No More Dirty presents the Good Music and Arts Festival at the Big Spring Park, downtown Huntsville, Sunday, September 12th from 4 to 8 p.m. Madison County Commissioner Violet Edwards, Alabama State Representative Laura Hall, Alabama State Representative Anthony Daniels, Councilwoman Frances Akridge, Councilman Devin Keith, Councilman John Meredith, C.E. Fallon and Company, Huntsville Utilities, Huntsville Police Department, Huntsville City Parks and Recreation, Honest Rental, Centel Corporation, 360 Design, Real Estate, and News for Real Ministry, Chief Entertainment, No More Dirty TV, Policy, Many More, and United Federation of Artistic Mind, Green Room Entertainment, Elegance on a Budget, Strictly Jesus Records, Flintstone Federal Credit Union. Clean and family-friendly fun, with performances by Bishop Danny Richardson and Eagles Fest Praise Team, Divine Purpose. Then called the Bird. Encore. Charles and Tanya Harris. Ken Clear. Fantastico with a DJ smash up with DJ Scissorhands. DJ Cliff. DJ Master Ice. DJ Sam Smite. The Jazz School Metal Experience. The Good Music and Arts Festival. To be a sponsor, vendor, book the tour, or for more information, contact us at nomoredirty.org. Let's do it again, October 2nd, 2022.
You can catch me at the crack of dawn with the lights on just to watch you sleep. With every turn and every store, I fall in love a little more and more. Till next to me is where I'll be forever, forever. We'll be together, 'cause all I really want is you. Forever, forever. You can step on over and take a bow, 'cause you're the baddest thing in this whole town. For as I see, nothing comes close to me. So you bet your heart and raise the stake and put the perfect meal up on my plate. Could this be the promise of you and me? Forever, forever, forever. We'll be together, 'cause there is no me without you. Forever, forever. We'll be together, 'cause all I really want is you. can catch me at the crack of dawn with the lights on just to watch you sleep.
All right. So how you doing? You grab the mic so you know, y'all we got to talk about this. Listen, folks. Y'all sent me that picture. I was like, wait a minute, this is PG Jesus 13.
It was a good picture.
She was like, honey, should we give him this one or that? No, but so welcome to the show. We are excited to have you here. Really excited to have you here. So let's talk about it. So we got to do the backstory before we get into some of the keys that have made your marriage and your relationship, because before you get to marriage, you got to have a great relationship, right? Okay, so, and this is good. Let me tell you why this is good. I'm gonna talk to the folk. This is good because you have a very unique story of how you all met. It wasn't your traditional, I was coming down the stairways and he saw me and he, this was a unique one. So anyway, 4.9 years, and she was like, no, we're not. We got 3 more months. 4.9. Tell me, almost 5 years in, what has been the most amazing part of your relationship? Not the marriage, the relationship. Talking to the mic.
Well, automatically, I'm gonna say friendship, because we took that time to just develop and just become friends. So we just, we became friends first, and we stuck to that, and we've had great moments together. Even when I may not like her the most, I could come back to her and. Because she's my best friend. So even if we're having trouble or whatever the case may be, I can still sit right by her the whole time because it's my friend, and I don't want to be without her in the room. So
I'm gonna need Professor. I'm gonna need some tissue. This the first couple. Let me keep this water. This is my eyes are sweating. Raven.
I agree. He's my best friend, and that's so important to me, because even when we can be going at it, and I can be as frustrated as I want to be. I'll look at him and I just start laughing or I start smiling. And it's frustrating because I want to be upset at him. I really, really do.
Can't stand you.
Right. But, he's my friend before he's my husband, before he's my lover. He is my friend. And he's right. We can be driving in separate cars and we'll have each other on the phone. Not saying anything, but, he's going to work. I'm going to work. We're coming home. Although we're about to walk into the same door. 5 minutes from each other.
Wow.
I want to talk to him. He calls me on his lunch. We text throughout the day. Like, I enjoy talking to him, and it's really good to have a partner. So yeah.
Wow. Come on, y'all, put your hands together. I mean, so one of the first key sounds like friendship.
Build that foundation.
All right, so let's talk about friendship as a part of one of the significant keys. So how do you establish a friendship? Or let me dial it back. How have you all established this friendship in such a way that you can share what you said previously?
I'll say in the very beginning, we were really raw and honest about what we needed. And because we started with that open honesty and we knew that we were looking for not just, someone to play around with or anything like that, but someone to truly love me and understand me, and we took the time to, because we were long distance, so
really,
yes, we started off long distance, so it took a lot of talking. That's all you did.
I guess you'd be like, when can you fly down? Oh, I'm gonna take the bus.
Yeah, we were the corny couple that stayed on the phone all night, fell asleep on the
corny.
phone,
That's
and
good.
all of that. And
that's mushy. It's kind of mushy, though.
But in that time, we were able to really get to know each other, and it wasn't just okay, what's your favorite color? It's okay, what are your dreams and aspirations? It's okay, so 10 years from now, what do you want to do? Where is your walk with God? Okay, how do you want to strengthen that? Are you, how do you feel about the way that the church is going? How do you feel about past traumas? How do you, so it wasn't just the fluffy stuff. We got to get really deep in it. And it was a choice. It was a choice to really be deep and to understand each other and to have an attachment to each other.
Okay, Cory, what about you?
I'll just say to piggyback off of her. I know we were both just mentally at that point. Like you said, we past traumas or past relationships or whatever the case may be, but we were just mentally ready to be, accept that and become that friend and take that step, start that foundation to be in a relationship. So I think that was the important part.
Wow.
Was we were mentally ready. We been through whatever, and it was like, okay, this is what I
I
want.
was reading your information. You came with a package. So let's talk about, because there are a lot of young men, young adults that have packages coming into a friendship. And sometimes that's very difficult because they're like, well, I don't know if I can handle this. How were you able to, first of all, make that choice to do that? And then, Cory, I want you to respond afterwards with what that package looked like and how you were able to navigate that. Okay.
Okay, so Layla, she's now 7. When he and I started dating, she's about 1.5.
Wow.
And
So you were a fresh
yeah,
young mom,
yeah,
single mom.
I was, and I was just at the point where, like he said, we had gone through, I've gone through a lot with her biological father and all this stuff, and I was like, okay, I want a relationship. I don't just want, to date or whatever. And so I honestly had pretty much stopped talking to everybody. And I had been talking to God about not only wanting somebody for me, but for her as well. And I knew that I needed to have a connection with this person first, right? So because I knew of him, we didn't necessarily know each other until we started talking, but we went to the same school. So Open University. Yes. So he knew that I had a child. And so, one of our first conversations, Layla was in the background, and, he just asked how she was doing, all those kind of things. But it was very important to me for us to lay a foundation. And then I wanted to see how she would react to him. So it was about 2 months in that we came for a visit. Yeah. So I wanted to come back to Oakwood to finish my degree. And so I was coming to, look at the classes and everything like that. And so I brought Layla with me, and I just wanted to see how they would interact. And Layla immediately attached to him. Like it was immediate. And he was just as, loving and affectionate to her. And he respected boundaries. He asked me from the beginning, okay, what are you looking for? And I was like, well, I'm not really looking for a dad for her. I don't need that right now. But what I want is a figure that is a male that understands, that will protect her, that will love her. And if that turns into a blooming, daughter-dad relationship, then cool. And it is. He's her daddy.
Wow.
Like he is her daddy, like from top to bottom. As a matter of fact, just last night, because he tucks the girls in at night, because now we have 2 girls. Yes,
so y'all was doing some romance.
So we have Layla in London. Yes, we're trying for a boy. That's right. He's tired of all the girls in the house. And last night he was tucking them in, and as he was walking out, Layla was just like, "I love you." He's like, "I love you too." And it's not forced. It's not any of that. Like that is her dad, and that is like one of the best things to me. That he loves her,
right,
just like he loves London. And if we don't say anything, you don't know that she's not biologically his. But I truly feel that from top to bottom that she's just as much his as London is.
So before you go there, I want you to speak to those single moms or single dads that struggle with that, and maybe it's not a instant connection. How can you share, some tips? Because I mean, there's some amazing young ladies out there with children, young men or young adult men, and they're like, I really want to have a relationship, but I want them to love my child for who they are. And then I want you to respond, and then what you would say, because you walked into the situation and stepped to the occasion, knowing that at any point you ain't my daddy, and it may come when they're in teenage years. Like I work with teens all the time. They get bucked and they go, is this my daughter I had? Is this daughter I've been with for 15? My son, so.
So the number one thing I say is trust your gut instinct. So sometimes there are not instant connections. And it can be because, so Layla's biological father's not in her life at all. But sometimes when there is that other parent in there, sometimes it is kind of hard because you're already like, you're not my mama, you're not my daddy. But especially for moms, you either go from one extreme to the other, where it's like, I don't want to date, I'm not, or I really want somebody to love me, but my child won't connect with that person. Number one, trust your instinct. Is it really just because your child is frustrated with the situation, or is your child really uncomfortable? That's key in the situation. Also, really praying about it and talking to your child. I mean, even, yeah, Layla was 1.5, but she was able to understand the situation. Mommy has met somebody. I really like him. I just want to see if you like him too. If your children are older, 3 and 4, you can gauge their reaction as well. We're born with senses. We can
Right.
feel those things out, and
Right.
trusting your child to tell you how they feel about it as well. And then also letting the other person, your spouse, invest in time with that
Give them
yes, with that
allow them
child.
time to
Yeah,
develop a real friendship.
yeah, absolutely. So very early on, they started going on daddy-daughter dates. They still do. And it's just their time together. I don't bother them. Sometimes he'll knock on the door and she's all dressed up and he's like, I'm here to take you out. And she'll have on a little dress, like a little hair done. And it's so cute. It's so cute. And she loves it, even if they're going to the living room to watch a movie. I mean, just
Wow.
it's something that she spends her time with daddy. And that started from when we were dating, was him investing in that as well. So I would say, all those are really important.
King Cory.
Well, I'll just say I'll say that God makes everyone in the way they need to be. Meaning, God made me with patience. He made me with more than enough love to give, and all those attributes. And I feel like I was in a position where it wasn't hard. I had more than enough love to give her and Layla. Yeah, so I mean, I had more than enough love to give.
Queen. What was that moment or that situation? It's got to be that aha moment that I got to take you to the altar.
Probably after she moved out and everything, she was in college. That summer she threw me a surprise birthday party because she knew that I had never had a birthday party.
Never?
Mm.
Wow.
No surprise. No, I mean, I've had like little small
Yeah.
with the family and everything, but nothing like a big hoopla. And she took upon herself to get all my family together because they were here for camp meeting and everything, and she did that, and I thought that was just a grand gesture to me. And I think another one that pops in my head is while I was in school, she was still in Texas, and the semester was coming to an end, and she sent me some edible arrangements. She just sent me some chocolate strawberries.
Wow.
And she was like, "You did good. You made it through the semester. Good job. I'm proud of you."
Wow.
And just the fact that she took time, out to do that, it was she didn't have to do that, but she was more than thoughtful to do that, and it just took me by surprise. I've never had anything like that before, and so that definitely made me realize
that nail hit that car. It hit it like this is it. What about you? She said, nice. So
it's crazy because I knew really early on. It is gonna sound crazy, but like our first phone conversation, because I'll let him tell you how we got to talking it anyway. But I'll say for our first phone conversation, he said, "I prayed before we got on this phone."
Wow.
And I was like, "What you mean?" And he was like, "I told God, if this is for me, then let it be for me." And I was like, "Oh, okay, kind of deep. All right." No, but it was so interesting. The conversation just flowed. And then basically right after that, he was like, "Okay, well, I would like to start having worship with you." And it was like an instant kind of, and I mean, we were, 22, 23, somewhere in there. Yeah, somewhere in there. And so, in that age, it's kind of like, okay, I'm in the church, but I'm trying to figure it out. I don't really know what's going on. And to see a man, because I wasn't necessarily, I mean, I was dating guys that were Christian, but
right.
not I'm praying for you, and
Yeah.
and to see someone be like, before we even get on the phone, I need to pray. It showed me how intentional and serious he was. And then another one, when I was getting ready to move back out here to finish school, and we'd been dating for about 4 or 5 months at that point, and I couldn't be out here to, look at the apartments.
Right.
So I would send him the addresses and he would go look at these apartments for me.
Wow.
And he would, oh, I don't like this one. Oh, I like this. He would video me so I could see them and this and that. And he's talking and asking about safety and, oh, this is a nice playground for Layla and this and this and this and this. And then he started actually buying stuff from my apartment.
Wow.
He would be like, "What do you need?" So then when I came here, I mean, I had stuff like brooms and dustpans and a bottle of bleach and, but I also had toiletries and I had, just towels and wash, those things that I didn't necessarily have to lug from Texas or get here and buy. It was already waiting for me.
So you was Mr. Goodbar. Come here, girl. You know I'm Mr. Goodbar. Mr. Goodbar.
But yeah,
Okay.
he just those were like the instantaneous moments for me. It didn't take
Yeah.
me long to know that I wanted to spend the rest of my life with him.
So look, keep blushing, boy. She got you wrapped. It's okay to be wrapped. And now,
We are 21. 21 ways you make my heart sing. 21 ways you make me smile. 21 hugs and 21 kisses. 21 ways you stay on my mind.
21 ways you motivate me. 21 ways I can't get enough. 21 ways you keep my attention. 21 years of the two of us.
Love that's lasting ain't easy, but we made it. Love that's lasting ain't easy, but we just made
21 arguments and makeups. 21 times we wanted to quit. 21 ways kept on trying. 2100 things to forget.
21 dreams about our future. 21 thoughts of how it would be. 21 years of hoping and praying. For 21 with you and me.
Love that's lasting ain't easy, but we made it. Love that's lasting ain't easy, but we just made it.
I wouldn't trade them. 21 lessons we had to learn.
21 years that built this family. 21 years to see his word.
21 years to grow together. 21 years to never give up.
21 years until forever. Now we're 21 and still in love. Oh, love that's lasting
Ain't easy, but we made it.
love that's lasting ain't easy, but we just made 21.
show it, girl. You got this.
I should.
Huh.
I should. Yeah.
Wow.
It was actually an engagement party. Because all of my family was there,
Right,
and
just
his
worked out.
family was there, and they were like, "Hey, well, how about we surprise everybody and get married?" And so everybody thought they were there for an engagement party, and then it was like, "Surprise, we're getting married!" So it was a long weekend for everybody, but it was great. It was great.
On how to maintain the romance, and then I want to talk two other questions, and then we have a special surprise. So let's talk romance. I mean, hey, it's okay. You know, she granted she over there like
No, so for me, it's keeping it fun,
okay.
right? So something I do every year, well, this is the third year I've done it, is 14 Days of Love, right?
14 Days of Love.
Yes.
Okay.
So every single day from February 1st to the 14th, he gets a different gift.
Wow.
And sometimes it's just a card. Sometimes it's like a last Saturday night, we poured our wine. It was veggie wine, y'all. It was non-alcoholic. Because my Uncle Kenny right there. So, yes, it's non-alcoholic wine. And then we played a game.
In moderation, people.
And then we played a game. And it was one of those conversational games. But sometimes I bring stuff up to his job, and but yeah, keeping it like fun and fresh. And we've done things like Target date night, where I send you your way and I go my way, and we get like, okay, something that reminds me of you, something that's funny, something that we can do together, those kinds of things.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
And then really tuning into each other, and making sure we love each other in the way that we need to be loved. Like, we were actually talking about that last night and today. Everybody has their own love languages, right? And sometimes you can feel like you're two ships passing in the night. Like, all week we were bumping heads. We're like, what is going on? Like, I'm trying, but we're bumping heads. And then I was like, wait a minute. Okay, so I'm loving you how I want to be loved, not necessarily how you're receiving that. Right. And he was kind of doing the same thing to me. Like, I'm giving you all these gifts and yada, yada, yada. And he's like, but do you like me this week? And I'm like, you can't tell that. But, for him, he needs to hear it.
Right.
Whereas he's telling me how much he loves me. And I'm like, can you do the dishes? So it's, and you gotta, love and understanding, I need to love you how you understand it. Right. And then when you feel loved, you feel at your best, and then you're able to be romantic and all that good stuff.
I told you that picture spoke 1,000 words. You like, I just really want to lean in a little bit more, but
I mean, I love him. I do.
That's cool. I'm with it. Hey, listen, that's why it was on the graphic. It hit the billboards. Go ahead.
I feel like one of the main things is effort. Just make an effort. It doesn't have to cost a lot. It doesn't have to, be some big thing. It could be something simple. Like I haven't done in a couple of weeks, but usually I get her roses every week. And it's nothing that's expensive. The roses, they're $10 a crop, 10 or 12.
Right.
So it doesn't have to be expensive. You could, just something simple. You have a picnic on the balcony.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah.
Or buy some canvases from Target or somewhere and just have a little paint and sip night.
Yeah.
For us, I'll say, before dating him, like I said, I dated Christian guys, but I never really went to church with them, or if I did, it was once in a blue moon, whatever. But to have someone that I can go to church with, and I can literally go before God, laying at the altar, and he's covering me.
Wow,
that's important to me.
He's covering you.
Yes.
At the altar.
Yes. I can wake up and he's praying over me. Like we said, we're trying for a boy, right? He prays at middle of the night. He's laying hands on me. Wow. And that's important to me. We make sure that it translates to our children. We'll say all the time, my children are churchy. Okay. I mean, we all churchy, but our children are churchy. And because, we're both singers. And so we're always singing in church and, lead down and all those kind of things. And so for our kids to be at practices with us, or, every night we read the Bible and we pray and we do all those things. And that's important because, we talk all the time about being equally yoked. And if I'm praying and I'm believing and I'm fasting and he's over here like, okay, it just doesn't work. And then when we're believing in God together, or we're going to God together for something, there's a piece that I can't explain. Like, there's something so manly about watching my husband praise God.
Come on.
Like that. Wow. That's so fun to me.
She said, did y'all hear that? She said, that's so fun. You really want to say that's so fun. Okay, I'm excited.
No, it is. It's
she
really.
Said, no,
it's something to watch him. And he's a very. You can't tell. This is my shy teddy bear. Like he's very reserved. Teddy bear, he is. He is. With that one. I'm the talker, right? So, but to see him, praise God openly and to cry out to God, it's something unique, and it's something, especially in our age group, you don't see a lot of men being bold enough to go before God's throne for themselves, for their household, for their children, for their wife. It's beautiful, and it's something really important.
I think another important thing is, starting off the day with worship. We do our best, even if we may forget to have worship that night or that morning on the way to work. We call and we make sure we call and pray of each other. We pray that we have a great day, that our students are acting right, our coworkers are doing, our kids, that they have a great day, and we just want to make sure that we cover each other, and we alternate every day and just make sure we take time to pray and cover each other.
So I do want to ask, this is on the flip side of that, when you have conflict in the home, or you're disagreeing and you're not having a good weekend, I love her, but I don't like her. I don't want to see her. I don't want to see him. How are you what kind of tips can you leave keys with our folk? And then we're gonna do the special. He's like, you gonna ask me first? You're the king.
The advice I would give is to know who you are. Know if you have a quick tongue, a sharp tongue.
Okay.
Take that time and think. Because I'm a thinker. So if something happens, she may fuss at me and she'll get mad at me.
Right.
But that's because I'm going through it in my head and I'm trying to think of the right words to say.
I got you.
Because if I say something right off the rip, I'm gonna say either the wrong thing or I'm gonna say it in the harshest way.
Right.
So one of the important things for me is to just take my time, get my words right, and make sure I'm saying the right thing.
Let me ask a question. So when you're in that moment, do you share that sentiment with I need a minute? Do you say that, or you just or you communicate that non-verbally?
We've gotten to that point. It took time because in marriage everything takes time and you grow. So it didn't start off like that, and that's why we get conflicts. But the more and more, that's why it's important to talk and talk things out. Know each other well. Know all the ins and outs of each other. So I mean, yeah. So it's important to know that.
Raven.
Don't be afraid to come back to it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to come back to the conflict if you have to walk away for
Yeah. So like he said, he needs a moment. And I'm like, no, we're gonna talk about it right now. And sometimes, when you walk away, just like if you have an argument with somebody and when you're done, you're like, man, I should have said, and all the things that you wish you could have said. But on the flip side, once you calm down, you can really understand where that other person's coming from, right? And so one of the biggest things for us is, okay, we may say what we need to say when we're, fussing, but then once we've actually calmed down, it's like, okay, boom, let's really talk it out. And then when we do that, it's like, oh, well, I didn't see it your way. I didn't feel I felt that you were coming at it this way. No, that's not what I said. It may have been my tone. It may have been how you felt at the time, and don't be afraid to apologize. And I mean, really apologize. Sometimes it's like, oh, my bad. But no, like, I'm really sorry. So one thing that we've implemented is trying to hear each other out without any prejudgment or feeling any type of way. So we'll come to each other and say, okay, how can I love you better this week? Right. And then that's our time to listen to each other. And sometimes we go back through the week and, what we've gone through and what's, happened. And that's our time to say, well, this coming week, I would like to see X, Y, and Z from you. Last week, this happened. I didn't like this. I didn't blah, 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 or I'm not getting this from you. And as the spouse, be willing to hear that. Don't always take offense, because you're not going to get everything right. You're just not. And sometimes you miss the mark. But if I'm telling you, hey, okay, so this week, I need some more one-on-one time. Or this week, I need you to step it up in, cleaning up the house or, whatever the case may be, and not always take offense. We were talking in a young adult group last night, and they were talking about, sometimes you don't need to talk to your husband. You don't need to talk to your wife. You need to talk to your friend. And sometimes stripping that, husband or wife, I need my best friend. And sometimes when you can sit down and just talk to your best friend, you can hear a little bit more. So if you go back to it and you really go over it without the anger and the emotions, you can really process better. We have 2 amazing kids. We have a business together. We've built a beautiful marriage. Even in, our conversation today, like to just be able to lay there and talk with you and be open and honest, and just lay in bed and laugh and talk. That's number 1. Number 2, I love you because of the way that you love me. I've never had anybody love me the way that you love me. And, as a little girl, I watched, my granddad and then my uncle and then my dad. And, to see all of them love their wives and then how happy they made them and just how happy you make me is great. And then number 3, okay. All right.
It's getting hot in here. Not yet.
No, I love you because I really believe that God made you for me. And you know me so well. Sometimes when I don't feel like I know myself, you get me. And I don't have to say anything to you. And you are God's vision for me. And it's so beautiful. And I'm just, I'm grateful for it. Yeah. See?
Okay, wait. Let give that mic so hot. Just give me that black mic. Give me that. Just use her mic. That's you. It's just you're gonna make a brother cry up in here. It's just the first interview here. Lord Jesus.
Well, for me, I would say,
Only three.
Yeah. So number one is, in the past, I've told you, because of past relationships or traumas, is like, if you just love me half of what I love you, I'll take it.
Mm.
And you've given me the equal amount of love and beyond.
Oh, that mercy.
And I appreciate that. Like, no one else that I know of does 14 days of Valentine, or no one else, will give
You didn't turn the music on, brother.
or randomly give me flowers just because one day I was joking, like, buy me flowers. And you take that and, you actually do it. And I love those things about you. Number two is I love being able to be 100% myself. We both have come from places where it's like, oh, we're like a shell of ourselves, whatever. And you feel you kind of nervous because they might think this side of you is corny, or they might not like this side of you. But I truly get to be 100% myself. And I have the baby syndrome. Like I'm the last out of 6.
Wow.
So sometimes I tend to be a little annoying. I do things that she doesn't like, but she understands who I am and where I am, and she kind of just sometimes she'll just ignore it, let me get it out of my system, or sometimes she's like, okay, you need to calm down. And so I just appreciate you let me be my quirky, funny self. Number 3. Let's see. Number 3. I mean, it's so many things. Like
You can't rush. You can't rush greatness here.
Yeah, number 3. Now. I just every day I love being with you. That's it. I really don't. I don't think I could be without this person. Like, I don't think I could be without Layla. I don't think I could be without you. I'm at London, and I just love being with you every day. Like, I can't imagine doing anything else without you. So I just love you to death. Like to death to this part. Like honestly,
Okay, you guys get too mushy. I've got to get to the second.
And here we go.
When I'm with you, life is so good. Why it's so fun, one of a kind. This heart of mine, I give to you. Our souls are aligned. These feelings are true. Lord help me to listen, stay patient, show compassion, understanding, stop tripping, make me mad, stay faithful, hold you down, wrong or right, never let go without a fight. You're the girl of my dream. I'm so happy when I'm with you. Life is so good. Why it's so fun, one of a kind. This heart of mine, I give to you. Our souls are aligned. These feelings are true. Lord help me stay spiritually strong. Worship and get our praise on. Take care of home. Be that person that you can lean on. Keep your dreams living on. Stay by your side, right or wrong. With you is where I belong. I never wanna be alone. When I'm with you, life is so good. Why you so fine? One of a kind. This heart of mine, I give to you. Our souls are aligned. These feelings are true. When I'm with you, the stars in the sky shine bright. When I'm with you, my life is good. Everything's alright. Heaven on earth, Heavenly Father, I thank ya for her. Heaven on earth, Heavenly Father, I thank ya for her. When I'm with you, life is so good. Life is so good. Why you so fine? Why you so fine? One of a kind. One this heart of mine, I give to you. Our souls are aligned. These feelings are true. These feelings are true.
So Will and Tiffany, we got a lot to talk to, a lot to talk about.
Yep.
So first things first, Will and Tiffany, how long have you all been in this love, friendship, marriage relationship? Who wants to answer that one first?
22 years now.
Yeah, because we was talking on that 21, but we realized we in a new year,
actually,
so it's really 22.
It's actually 22 years. When I found out our daughter, she was saying, I'm about to be 20 years old. We're like, time out. First thing I thought about was our numbers are off with what we sent to the show.
All right, so let's dig in. As you know, the theme here is true keys, and amazing keys that make true love, happiness, romance, and marriage not only work but beautiful. So for you, as the queen of your home, Tiffany, what has been the greatest experience with Will?
Oh, I will say 22 years, we have lots of great experiences. I think one of the most special aspects of our relationship is his ability to make me and our whole household laugh.
Really?
Absolutely. And I think those kind of moments really add up. The laughter, it's medicine for the soul, and it makes a difference in our experience at home, in moments with our children. And I just think that's probably what I would say the most that I've experienced with Will over these 22 years.
You're a comedian and a lover. Isn't that amazing? Come on, give it up for the comedian lover, Will Martin. So listen, for you, 22 years today, what has it been the most amazing attribute that, oh my goodness, Lord Jesus, thank you for Tiffany. What has that been like? What is that?
I would say outside of her beauty.
See, there you go. See, that's a real man's response. She's fine.
Definitely something that makes it all easy.
Right.
But it's really just keeping us on task, keeping me on task, keeping our family on task. Her focus on our joint vision is something that I could just jump in the bus and drive it, because ultimately she is helping keep us focused so much.
That's amazing, Will. And to our viewing audience, what I think is unique about what you said when you talked about focus and you talked about his humor, when I was listening, it was like, and this is what makes happiness genuine. You said it like like you were drinking water, it rolled off your tongue. He was like, I mean, like, I really have 5 things, but I'm just going to do this one. It's focused because, you know. So for you both, and you both can, ladies first, when did you first see this guy?
We have our versions of the same
That's
story.
cool. That's the beautiful thing about this type of show. You can do it like you do.
But I mean, honestly, we met at a special event called Freaknik in Atlanta.
Oh, A-Town. Oh, I know about that.
Yeah. So
On top of the car. Like,
I wasn't on top of the car, but when there wasn't Underground Atlanta.
right. That's right.
It was. I was actually shopping and he saw me. We happened to have, I guess, been in the same vicinity, and he followed me to the food court. Yes. And I went to get some food. And before I could leave the line with my food, I looked to my left and he's standing there. And he says, so just debonair, excuse me, you are the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. May I have a moment of your time? And of course, I'm smitten. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, okay. No, so my first moment seeing him was at the cashiers of the cashier of the place where I got the food, and literally moments before I turned away with my food to walk to get a table, one of his friends ran up and took a picture, and we have that picture to this day.
Yeah. To this day, yep. Yeah. We've always had that picture connected with like the marriage picture here connected.
Really?
With our first child, second child. It was always that picture and
everything else
as we grew.
So for you, listen, bro, if this is nowadays you do that, it's called a stalker. I'm gonna hit you with the mates. You know, but for you, what caused you to do that? In especially that time and that kind of get down. We know the business.
Right.
Thank God for salvation and change and transformation. No more dirty. Thank you. Amen. Hallelujah. Background.
Yes, most definitely. I think it's I guess even to take the story back a little bit more, I did not know that she was from the Huntsville area. Really? I went to school at Alabama A&M, and I saw her in the mall one day, and I was far from her. I couldn't get to her in the mall. And so in my brain, I said, man, I looked her because I've never seen her before. So the rest of that weekend, I was like, if I see her again, I know what I'm going to say, right? Well, I'm ready for this moment. I don't think I saw her the rest of the weekend, and maybe I don't think I saw her the rest of the weekend. And then in Atlanta, it was like some gospel steppers, right? First, it was just some people like stepping, and then I saw her, and I'm like, all right, this is it, guys. It's time. I already got, and this is like months from when years from when I originally saw her, right? And the closer I got to her, I heard the people were like stepping about Jesus. They was like, we love the Lord. Jesus stuff. Right? So I'm like, oh, and I saw her like praising, and I said, oh, like this ain't about to work, because at that time I was not saved at all.
I understand. So you were just in transition.
Right. So I backed away saying now is not the time, because she was doing the stomp. And then I saw her same day at the food court.
So that was a little bit more up your line at the
Boom.
time. Bam.
Yeah.
Get your freak out.
Yeah. And I tell it to this day, ruined the rest of my weekend, because even my friends talk about it. I just say, hey, at that point, I didn't want to do anything else. I'm like, guys, I met her. I met my baby mama. This is it. So really, the rest of the weekend, I was
ain't no other chick can do it like you. Ain't no editor. Okay, I'm sorry. You sent me there. Yo, so all right, we got to get it. This is juicy, y'all. This is juicy. This is why we're doing this. Because the thing is, it's amazing that when you met, it was on a different front and something that's not where you are today. 22 years later in ministry, tell us about your nonprofit and how that came about and your support of her nonprofit.
Sure. Well, I will say it was an unexpected development. It's nothing that I anticipated. The Dandelion House was established only 2 years ago, and it was after coming out of a directorship downtown at another organization. And we were walking around our neighborhood, and I had been prayerful about what was coming next. And I look at Will and I say, honey, I think that the Lord is speaking to my heart about doing something for women and families. And all that to say, within short order, he just like went in all in with me on faith.
Wow.
And he kind of, there were moments he's like, are you sure about this? And I was like, well, I feel like I've got to do it. If I don't, I feel like I'm disobeying the Father. And so with that, we've been able to establish an organization that's nonprofit We're all about transforming women, strengthening families,
That's great.
and causing life to be abundant, and experiencing life more is what we're all about. And so, with that, my goal to be a midwife and to work with moms and children, especially
Okay.
those in need, just kind of birthed again unexpectedly. I love what my husband says all the time. God does not call the qualified; He qualifies the called.
Come on.
And in this nonprofit experience, it was certainly a stretch of my faith and our faith together, and we're still walking it out in that way.
Wow. So for you, again, you already knew that was your baby mama. So now 22 years later, you still know that's your queen and your baby mama.
Good.
So what I need you to share, because there are men that are having to make a decision, and how did you come to this realization that it is important for you and even more for her to support her dreams and visions, knowing that you didn't really know?
Right. I would just,
you know what I'm saying?
I would just say that it is practice.
Okay. And I think that's practical. We want to do the whole God came down in a balloon cape and
right. We have been doing this our entire life with each other, supporting each other. I think we just as much, I think, as we married each other, we married a vision.
Oh, wait. Oh, that's juicy. Okay. Yeah, you jumped in where I was trying to get 3 questions down, but let me just do that. So you said you jumped in a marriage, and you jumped in a marriage just as much as you jumped in a vision. Wow. When we look at a lot of relationships today, they jump in a marriage, but they don't come together in a vision. You got to expound on that, both of you all. Why did you say that, and why do you live by that code?
I would say just where beginning of our relationship, she was living in Atlanta, I was living in Huntsville. Throughout our time of meeting each other, that is when I became saved myself. And really, she wasn't studying when we first met.
I know she wasn't using Freaknik.
Right, at all.
When brothers go to Freaknik, it's a real situation.
Right, at all. And so upon us coming together, it was just something to where it was more of that us coming together around something. It was more about us building something for ourselves generationally, breaking any past family curses that we might have had, where that's something that we signed on to even more in our relationship.
I would agree with that. And I would just add, it's bigger than what you are desiring or feeling, or even this whimsical, dreamlike expectation. Because, even as a young girl, you kind of grow up with this idea about what it's supposed to be like and the feelings associated with it and the Prince Charming element. And all those things are fluffy and nice. But the reality is that marriage is covenantal, and it has to be bigger than just you and the other person. It has to, again, have a purpose, and it has to be beyond your lifetime, whatever that is, because it's a generational opportunity to make a difference.
I love what you said, Tiffany. You said it's a covenant. I want to dial that back a little bit, and let's look at, when you say covenant, let's talk about your friendship covenant. How did that start once you met each other, begin to have conversation?
Once again, I think it was, of course, we had all of the goo goo gaga late night conversations, but I think the really stuff where I started seeing that she was buying what I was selling is,
that's a good way to put it, buying what you're selling.
Exactly, is when I started talking about building a life with her. When I started talking about like, hey, like, you know what? How about I know how I would beat Miss Martin, right? Miss Tiffany Smith, I'm not too sure.
Right.
But I know if your last name is Martin, I know how I desire to treat you. And so in that was something that she bought onto, like, you know what? Okay, then. Well, I'm gonna be Miss Martin. And and we went from there. And so I think those are the things. And to be able to support each other, even going back to that original question, like, how can I support her and what she's doing now? Because she's done it for me for 4 years. Whereas I say we've had practice at just allowing each other to pursue dreams, allowing each other to do those things.
I would expound as well that, and to, I guess, even share, we had a short-term face-to-face experience because, again, he lived here in Huntsville, I was in Atlanta, and literally we met in April. I think we saw each other again somewhere around August.
Wow.
And then, we had conversations, and then he went to the military, came back, we got married. So within about a short period of time, all that to say, because of what he just described, this idea of I want to get to know you as my wife.
Come on.
It caused the friendship element to be something that we had room to grow into. Some say being friends first is very important. I think that friendship is important. For us, it developed over time.
Right.
And it was again, vision casted experience for us, and the support piece of it, where we're able to, hold each other up, encourage each other along the way, be transparent, and allow each other to grow. I think that's one of the best parts of friendship, is that you can do that together, and we've done that together a lot.
Again, this is interesting, as a different perspective on God-fearing or God-led relationships that lead to happiness, romance, and marriage. So I want to speak to the theme again, covenant. I love what you're saying, because you made a covenant with each other, though you were long distance, and you were even in different fields of career. And in that time, though it seemed probably like a long time, it was a short time, and you were able to hold on to the vision cast to actually say we are going to be Mr. and Mrs. at one point, at some point, at one point, and always this point. So let's talk in terms. I want to talk to you because this is important, and I love this perspective, because for a lot of us men, we see physical, but we're not able to tap in mentally, emotionally, and still respect boundaries. Can you speak not just to your experience, but from your experience to those guys that are like, hey, you know what? Like, I want to be a good guy. I want to be a good dude, but you're saying you can't be that kind of guy looking for chicks and being in this kind of space. You got to really be looking for your queen, your baby mama, like on that level. So what was it? Can you share that? I think that's important. And then coming from a background where it wasn't Jesus.
I mean, I think the biggest thing is preparing yourself. Our Savior will he'll cleanse you if you ask for it, and that's just something to where if you are, you want something, something different in your life, you have to start preparing for it. So I don't think it's anything that you can just say, this is what I want to do. It's more of the preparation starts. So I think before I even met Tiffany, I stopped hanging out. Right.
Right.
The taste for things that I was desiring, I started losing a taste for it. Right. And that's the Lord preparing me to meet her. So, and it's nothing wrong with desiring that as a young man, as a man. Like it comes. That's your natural progression of desiring to have a pride. If you speak of a lion, I mean, you're gonna, you need that wife, children. You want a family, right? And so I would say not being scared of dreaming those things, and at the same time that responsibility. I think a lot of people might not desire someone that close to them to where they can challenge you to the things that you've said. And my wife's toughest times, there's been times where she fall back on, like I said, she bought what I was selling. She'll go back and say the things that I'm selling. Well, you told me.
Wow.
And it's the vision.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Wow.
She's calling out the vision that I've casted out and what she's bought into, which now that holds me accountable to those things. So I would just say dream, to all the young men, like dream, like you can have it. Now it's gonna be tough. You're gonna have to do it and be it. But you have to start with dreaming or casting what it is you so desire. Exactly. And being prepared for that moment. Like when you meet her, you got to be ready for it. Once again, you have to have those words.
I'm going all the way underground to uptown, A-town to get this one right here. Okay. What about you as a woman? And I love that you said, listen, out of love, you said that you wanted me like that. Wow.
I would just have to ditto my husband, preparing. I believe that most relationships, and especially marriages that I hear about, struggle with having not gone ahead of the moment to prepare for when it came about. And I can't say that I was all the way prepared myself, but I knew that that's what I wanted, and I knew that it was supposed to be. I just knew in my heart he was the one. But I would say being in position and preparing, and I believe that a lot of that preparing includes already recognizing your opportunity to love and to be in relationship with the Father first. I find that helps put things in perspective, because if you can embrace that intimate relationship with the Father and cultivate that, then when that man comes along, then it's not that he's bringing something so brand new that you haven't already gotten a sense of feeling from the Father or a sense of provision in those areas. you're not really lacking anything when you have the Father, and you've prepared yourself in that relationship. So when the husband shows up, or when the brother husband shows up, you kind of know, okay, I've had
It's kind of
that
familiar.
intimate relationship, and it's a recognizable moment.
Correct.
And so I think that's key for a female just as well.
Wow. So let's, we see so much in the news and all the, I thought they were going to make it. And what is it? What are those things that make you so happy in the relationship, right? That you want to go 23 years, knowing that every issue is not perfect, because we're going to talk about conflict. But we really got to dig in. These are real keys for true happiness. Okay, ladies first.
I think one of the true keys to happiness is understanding your personal identity, your true identity, and doing things that bring you into another level of wholeness, free of past issues, having done some work to identify some of the past woundedness, looking at past relationships, and just really doing some of that early work so that you can kind of be free of those kinds of bondages, those things that kind of hold you back from being happy yourself, being okay with you. I think that happiness really is an offshoot of joy, and it's not circumstantial, but it certainly is a foundational, consistent flow, again, connecting back to that intimate relationship with the Lord. So if you can be happy with him or find joy with him, and then you've done work to get kind of clear from your issues, and you've done that work, then you found that initial place of happiness with or without a man. And so when that man comes, it's just an additional exponential overflow that can be cultivated. It can be cultivated. Absolutely.
Dr. Will.
I would definitely echo what my wife said in that sense of, like, happiness is always something they say it's fleeting, right? To where if I base my entire like how I feel about my wife on if I'm happy or not, then once again I could have a false sense of even our relationship.
Right.
But it is happiness is needed. Like you need the sunshine. You know what I mean? Like, the rain is coming, cloudy days are coming. So when there is sunshine there, you just gotta hold on to it and to be with someone that help make those sunny days even sunnier.
So let's go here, because you start getting a little, your throat. It just. So for you, why does she make you happy? 3 things.
That is it. I would say the 3 things that I would say are upon us, a part of that vision casting, is I told my wife that she is the perfect woman for the man that I want to grow up and be. Ooh. Right. So the 3 things would be the point that in 22 years, it's some time, right? I love who she was. I love who she is today. Wow. And having even a vision of who she's going to be. You know what I mean? I love that version of her as well. So I think that is all the reasons why, and everything that encompasses who she was, which was a singer, you know what I mean? Superstar doing her thing, to who she is now, devoting all her time to women and families, and then even knowing the vision that's in her heart, knowing like what she's going to be, and that just continues to even push me myself. So I would say those are the 3 reasons.
Tip.
I'd say first of all, I'm happy with my husband because he is brave. Wow. It is if I can be just straight up, like, as a Black woman, we carry something special and different. We have this interesting gamut that we bring to the table. I think it was Lettucey that said it best, all these parts of me. And it takes a strong and brave man to take on me. And it makes me happy and brings me joy that he continues to trust me with his heart. And he's brave enough to just embrace me in all of the versions of me, as he said. And then I also am happy with him because he's the one that helps me stay balanced and embrace the lighter side of life. Like, I tend to be a little bit more serious and focused, as he has shared. But he can just shine that light in that moment. He can get me in the truck and roll down the windows and play different songs. And it just is a beautiful balance that he brings to my life. And then I'd say the third thing is I'm happy with his leading our family. One of the things that I've been so blessed by is that although we've been involved in ministry through the years, pioneering churches and church planting and being very involved in ministry, at some point he came in and we talked, and at some point we just said, it's time for us to reel it in as a family. And he took the role as the leader of our home, the priest and the pastor of our family. And there's nothing better to me than to have a strong man leading spiritually as well as in every other way responsible for our family. And so that brings me great joy as well.
You know, she got that little smile, bro. It's on and popping. From the 8 to 22 years later, brother. She's like, I'm trying to be calm, but she got her hand on his leg. Like, wait till we get back to the crib. No, so anyway.
I would say like I'm a like an educator and a basketball coach, and a lot of things we tell our players are to principles that we're teaching, the hard work are things to help them throughout life. So in the same vein, I have to learn myself, right, from the things that we're teaching these young men. And we always tell them, you got to put the work in, right? You got to work every day and you got to put the work in. So the same thing, how do you get through conflict? How do you lessen the blows of conflict? Like, once again, going to sport, we always tell them, the other team runs are going to happen. The game is going to move. How are you going to prepare for the run? It's the work that you put in. So I say the work for us is putting in that time. Like we have usually one day a week. Sometimes we might skip a week, you know, here and there, but we have basically the meetings. She pull out the computer. We have an agenda and we're able to talk through things of basically Martin Inc. business stuff where we're prepared for it, pray before we go into it. And then on another day, probably like on a Wednesday, on another day, we have our scripture time where now we speak of our Father's word, and where we promise each other that we won't go into that meeting carrying anything.
Wow.
So now having those almost like a engine where we have 2 opportunities throughout the week to let a little steam off, where if it's the business meeting, we're able to talk in a business manner. If it's something of a heart, something I felt hurt at this time or something like that, we're able to have that conversation with our Father watching, because that Wednesday conversation is more of we're sitting and our Father is watching us have these conversations. And when we do not have those meetings, we can tell and we can go right back to it, and we can say we didn't meet in the past week. We got extra busy. Either I got busy, she got busy, something happened, and we did not come together and talk before the conflict happens to diffuse certain things.
Wow, that's powerful.
I would say 2 things. The first is determine not to be offended. I think when it comes down to it, and one of the things I love about what Will say is like, I know that you love me and I trust you. So whatever you say, whatever you do, I know that you mean the best for us, for me, for our kids. And so determining not to be offended, I think, is key for conflict. And then I think the other piece that kind of joins with that is to be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to become angry. At the end of the day, I believe that contention and conflict only can go so far when you can just decide that this is how I'm going to approach it, knowing that this person loves me, I love them, the intention and the motivations are pure. There's no reason to go beyond, a moment and allow there to be an issue.
And stay up as long as you have to. Don't try to go to sleep angry. Stay up as long. Get it done.
You already know the business. Look into my eyes.
There we go. And I think I answered this one a little bit earlier when I just said I love who you were, I love who you are, and who you're gonna be. And everything that's encompassed in that are all the reasons why you were my girl, all my girl, and forever will be.
Okay, that's one. You got 2 more. You used that one before. You got 2.
Right, that was one. Then number 2 is the dimples.
You try to be all calm, but you like, girl.
Right. And
bring that A back.
Just number 3 is just her heart for the Lord. Some people, she walks the walk.
That's what's up.
You know what I mean? And it's and that helps you it makes it real. Yeah. When you're connected with somebody that legit walks the walk, then it makes it believable for us, for our children.
Yeah.
So that's just something where it's just immense amount of respect, because someone can just, men, we're, you know what I mean? Like
you like whatever.
Right. But I'm talking about in just simple to please. Wow. Right. The dimples you had me at the dimples. Right. So like, I'm good. Like you can gotta be whatever, but it's the dimples. Like you yelling at me, but if I can get you to smile, that's why she said I love the joke, because I want to see the what? The dimples. Right. But when you start saying somebody that walks the walk, then it makes it all real, and you have to, that's when a man can respect the woman that he's with. Now. And if you're with someone for the dimples, but you don't respect them, that's when it comes out in conflict. That's when it comes out in how you treat them. That's when it comes out in how you talk about them to other people, because you don't respect them, you're more focused in on the dimples.
Okay, Tiffany.
Well, I love you because you have been so dedicated to our family and our vision. And I love you because, again, you are brave and you've continued to just come home to me and our family. I love you because you do love the Lord and that you revere him and fear him. I love you because you're tall, dark, and handsome.
There it is.
And I think
that would get you somewhere.
And I think that you complete me in so many ways. And you've brought me into a place of being who I am today and who I want to be just as much.
EC, it's my baby mama. You already know though. Check it out. Hey, they wanna ask how long I'll be here. I say forever, let's just be clear. I'ma be loving you all of my life, for the rest of my life. I'll be loving you all of my life, for the rest of my life. I'ma be loving you. Now everybody that's up in here, throw your blessings so it's clear. I'ma be loving you all of my life, for the rest of my life. I'll be loving you all of my life, for the rest of my life. I'ma be loving you.
I just wanna show you that it's certain.
Okay.
When my hands up, we call it worship.
Okay.
Yeah, I know it's real. Yeah, I know it's real.
Oh dear.
And I ain't got a question, how I feel.
Yeah.
Give me purpose. No, I never ever nervous. Everything you say, believe 'em. No, I never ever leave 'em. I ain't stepping down off this word. I'ma keep this thing clear, that's for sure.
Well, they wanna ask how long I'll be here. I say forever, let's just be clear. I'ma be loving you
all of my life, for the rest of my life.
I'll be loving you
all of my life, for the rest of my life.
Well,
I'ma be loving you.
now everybody that's up in here, throw your bless up so it's clear. I will be loving you
all of my life, for the rest of my life.
I'll be loving you
all of my life, for the rest of my life. I will be loving you. I love how my God, he feels the same about me. You can hear me telling in my testimony. He's alright, you say. He's alright, trust me. And we're going up. He gonna rain down victory. Everything that you need, he can guarantee. Love that will make you whole, let it overflow. So here's where I'll be. I just gotta let you know.
Wanna ask how long I'll be here. I say forever, let's just be clear. I will be loving you
all of my life, for the rest of my life now.
I'll be loving you
all of my life, for the rest of my life. I'll be loving you.
Now everybody that's up in here, just throw your bless up so it's clear. I'ma be loving you
all of my life, for the rest of my life now. All of my life, for the rest of my life. I'ma be loving you. Neither the hurt, neither the hate, neither the time I gotta wait, neither the death will separate. Never change my mind, never from the love of God.
They wanna ask how long I'll be here. I say forever, let's just be clear. I'ma be loving you
all of my life, for the rest of my life.
I'ma be loving you
all of my life, for the rest of my life.
Everybody that's up in here, throw your bless up so it's clear. I'ma be loving you
all of my life, for the rest of my life.
I'ma be loving you
all of my life, for the rest of my life. I'ma be loving you all of my life, rest of my life. I'ma be loving you all of my life, the rest of my life. That I'll always be here for the rest of my life. I ain't going nowhere all of my life, for the rest of my life. Ain't going nowhere all of my life, for the rest of my life.
long you been married, Dr. Kenny?
It has been 24 years.
Wow, 24.
24 years.
Wow, I'm gonna jump right in. Kenya, what you like about this dude? 24 years in, you could have left him on 15, and you stay with him. What's going on? What do you love about Kenny that you would stick with him for 24 years? Got talking to Mike now.
In the mic, okay. What I love most about Kenny is that he's gifted.
Wow, that he's what?
He's gifted. He's just got many, many talents.
Wow.
And he's extremely smart, and that is a turn on.
Woo, did you say smart is a second turn? Oh, sunny day. Okay, I'm sorry. Kenny, what about you, bro? 24 years in. What do you love? What's that thing? That's just Kenya. Oh, good God of mercy. Let me clap my shoulder.
You know, Kenya has a perpetual smile on her face. I mean, when I'm talking like in the middle of the night, in the middle of the day, it matters not the time.
Wow.
You can catch her smiling, and then she can be angry, but she smiles.
Really?
Yeah. So and then you can hear it in the phone. Talk to her on the phone, and she has this joyful. I'm sure you've heard it just now. She's got this joyful sound in her voice. So that's
a turn on for you. Huh?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
He said, "Oh yeah," like 5 times, y'all. You know that's real right there. So let's dig in. There's always a backstory, right? 24 years ago, he's laughing already, man. I'm trying to get to the show right here. Well, can you meet this dude, man? What?
We're laughing because we each have our own version.
Oh, that's round 2. Here we go. Yeah, what's your version?
We're gonna give the simple version of it all.
Okay. All right. Cool.
All right. So what we definitely agree on is that we met at Oakwood
Talking
College.
to Mike for me.
Oh, sorry. We met at Oakwood College.
Okay.
In Carter Hall, 1992.
Wow.
It was a quick meetup. I was headed out, and he was actually he didn't attend Oakwood at the time, but he was there visiting some friends, and so that's how we met. It was a quick meet. We were off. We did not see each other again until 1997.
What? It's a lot of years.
Yes. Well, things happened again. The first time he was living in Oakwood.
Right.
And by 1996, I moved to Huntsville. And it was homecoming weekend, 1997. We met. And at that time, they had laser tag here.
Right. Okay.
So we were there. I was there with my girlfriends. He was there with his dudes. And we saw each other. I saw him more so than he saw me. But I saw him because I was like, I know this dude. I recognized him. Right. And then what I began to like about him, he was extra silly. You know Kenny's silly.
Yeah, Kenny is a silly box.
That actually drew me to him because he was the silliest that night.
Wow.
And because I'm an introvert, especially that I was very quiet. So it was kind of an opposites attract situation.
Okay. Kenny, anything you want to add to that? Because you're giggling over there already.
Because so her side of the story is not untrue. It's pretty much the case. We were I remember the laser tag, and I won a competition. I won a competition for a free game at laser tag. It was a dance off.
Really?
Yeah,
a dance off. Okay.
Yes, it was a dance off. You saw the whole thing, didn't you? And I won.
We believe you. You're on TV.
Again, I say he was silly, and he was the silliest that night. Don't put that back out there.
There was a table involved, and
he was doing it before it became popular.
In front of a room full of strangers.
Oh my goodness!
It didn't even matter to me. It was yeah. It was a competition. Leave it all on the table.
All right, we're gonna move to the next segment here. So listen, so you had this encounter, laser tag, you got on the table, did a tabletop talking tattle, and then what was it that drew you to each other now that you've had this interaction at laser tag?
The funniest thing about it was we really didn't interact that night
at all.
We continued to see each other over and over and over again. If it was in church, if it was somewhere else, we just kept bumping into each other, and I kept saying, "I know this dude." Right. And finally, we ended up speaking one day after church.
Okay.
And
you want me to tell that story?
Go ahead and say it.
So
finishing each other.
I'm surprised that she wants me to say this.
I'll let you say it.
Go
You
ahead,
want me to
man.
say it? Okay.
This is cable TV
Okay.
for the saved, I guess.
So you talking about the time it was raining? Oh, okay. She wants me to go there. So it was it was raining outside, and I saw her face, and I actually I walked up to her. She had this little tiny umbrella. You know, she has tiny everything, tiny hands, tiny feet, and she used a tiny umbrella. So in the rain, I didn't have an umbrella. I had to come to her and stick my head up underneath the umbrella.
Makes sense.
So I was pretty close.
Proximity was close.
Yeah, no 6 feet. Right there.
Yeah,
So,
no pandemic at the time.
Right. I said, "Oh, what is your name?" And with that beautiful smile, she looked at me. She smiled and she says, "Kenya." And I said, "Oh, wrong person."
Oh my God.
And the reason what happened, I had met someone
my
maybe about 2 weeks ago.
You just go wave right now for a second. Thank you, Professor. Okay, bring us back out. All right, go ahead. So
I'd met someone, and I met someone probably 2 weeks earlier.
Okay.
And I thought that was the same individual.
Right.
Again, I had seen Kenya from periodically from time to time, but I thought she was somebody else. But again, that smile caught my attention.
Wow.
And I will never forget that moment. Just though I kind of blew that one all the way out the water. Just
So what made you take it back?
Well, I let him say that because in the end, we ended up meeting for the final time,
Okay.
4th of July. And we were at a pool party.
Mm.
Interesting enough, I knew all the people there except for Kenny. He knew all the people there except for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Talk
Literally.
about God's divine interactions.
So, but then that was when I think it really triggered him, girl.
Mm.
And so we really have literally been together ever since. Every single day after that.
Every day?
Every literal day.
Every day.
Wow.
Every day.
Every day from that point, 24 years later.
Yeah.
How did you know that you need to marry her after being with her every day? Because brothers be honest now. Look, be honest. Brothers be like, oh yeah, but I need my space. What kept you drawn every day?
So
some type of connection every day.
So what's important to me is to be, even to this day, is to come home and home is my refuge.
Okay, gotcha.
If whatever's going on at work, whatever's going on outside, as soon as I walk in the door, this is home. This is my place, and I'm going to do what I want to do.
Right.
But I also needed to know that whoever was going to be there with me was going to have a smile on their face.
Wow.
And was going to and have that joyful sound in their voice.
Mm.
So then I walk in the door and hey babe. Right.
Hey,
And that's what I look for right there.
Look at that smile, folks. Come on, y'all, put your hand together. He out of control up in here, man.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that really even after dating for a while, I would call, leaving work, and I'm calling. I say, man, I had a rough day. As soon as she answers the phone, hey babe. It
just did it for you.
Yeah.
What about you?
Really the same thing. We became each other. And I don't want to, make it seem like we just had horrible, relationships and things before, but really we became each other's piece in a sense.
That's cool.
I leaned on him very early. He leaned on me very early. And we had mutual friends.
Right.
And so after we met that time, they were all like, yeah, she's a good girl. And yeah. And he even knew my brother before I knew him.
Wow.
So that was the other thing. So we just kind of really became friends that way. We spent much of that day, 4th of July, together. To the point where we stayed outside and watched the fireworks. So the pool party was earlier that day.
And y'all just hung to
and we just
the
hung.
fireworks. So let me dig in, because you covered a lot of the questions just because of that. So this connection has been eternal in a very practical sense. So how do you deal with conflict? Because there's people out there like, man, I love this woman, I love this man. I don't want to be without him, but I'm mad. I don't know how to get through this. So how do you do that? Because the smile, I want you to know, I want you to be in my space, Kenny's vibe. And then in those spaces, every day is not a great experience. Because you have rough days and what. So how do you deal with conflict? Because these, again, we're giving keys so they can have true love.
First, you have to know yourself. And for me, that was the thing. I enjoy giggling. And the fact that he is, I'm not going to say was, he is silly really helps. So, but I'm also an introvert. I don't even like conflict. So I'm going to back away as much as possible. So basically, in the end, I choose my battles. Okay, is this the one I'm going to fuss at him about? or is it going to be another one?
Okay.
But it's not, today may not be the day.
Right. I got you.
And sometimes I don't always know how to say, okay, you know what, you hurt my feelings, or we're going to have to get this together.
I got you. Yeah. What about you?
So I'm gonna say this. It has been, I mean, even after 24 years, I am still trying to figure that out.
Really?
I'll be, and listen, I want to be honest, because the point is, I'm not saying that there's failure there. What I'm saying is there's constant growth.
That's good.
there.
That's good.
Even my biggest challenge is being defensive. You talk about knowing yourself. You have to be able to make an introspection of yourself, know what your strengths and weaknesses are. And there, I've got to recognize that, being defensive is going to be my greatest weakness. So then even if Kenya approaches me with something that, and you know what, it seems like I'm always the one doing something wrong. And I don't understand
Well,
how
that's just
that
how it
happens.
goes. I can't get
I never have to come to
20
Kenya.
years plus. Yeah, just take it, bro.
I'm never the one saying, babe, this is a problem. I don't ever have those things. Anyway. But I've got to, in fact, I've even had to learn how to apologize.
That's powerful.
I had to learn to apologize. And because I was always, babe, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that this happened. But if you had only, what kind of apology is that?
Right.
It's not.
It's not.
That's just your defensive.
Because then it's defensive.
Right.
So and I can honestly say that even in the last couple of years,
right,
I had to learn to sit back and really, contemplate what it is I'm going to say in this apology, and then bite my tongue when I want to say, well, only if you had done this. You know what I'm saying? Because that's not the point. The point is I have to acknowledge what I've done wrong. So for me, it's a growth experience. It's a growing experience, and something that I've got to be honest, I'm still learning.
Well, I think transparency is everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would also say, though I'm an introvert, and actually Kenny's an introvert too.
Really? Kenny?
Yes.
Believe it or not,
What year is
I know.
this? I mean,
At home, he's quiet.
Really? Okay. I'll take it.
So our personalities switch out because we're both also free spirits. So when you're talking about conflict, that's why I said I pick my battles, because you can sense when he's like, okay, I'm a little on the agitated side, then I'm not going to be. Does that make sense? And then that way we don't get into arguments. There's no yelling and fighting and fussing kind of a deal. It's always conversation.
You have this part of the conversation is amazing. Let me tell you two reasons. One, because you describe what Genesis what God said about the woman in Genesis, a helpmeet. Like you're right by his side, and you're like, okay, if I push this button because he's already on 12,000, let me dial it back. You're helping him as a life partner when he comes off of a crazy day, and vice versa. You're like, let me shut my mouth and I can become the introvert I need to be in the moment so that I can be the helpmate for my queen. So that's co-leadership. That's co-love. That's, and I think that's important that we glean that tonight. If you missed a lot of tips, you don't want to miss that one, because at the end of the day, whether you're introvert, extrovert, free spirit, just come off the cuff, when you can know your partner in that kind of way, like that's amazing.
And it takes time too. It's getting to know your partner. You have to know who they are and their habits and the things that they do. And I mean, even when it is rare, but when he does have to come to me about something,
that smile got real big, bro.
About something that I've done, then I have to say, okay. And the other piece to it is listening. You're having a conversation, and our arguments really are very much what we're doing now.
Really?
But yeah.
Praise the Lord.
But it's listening and then following through with it. It's not just, oh, okay, I hear you. Okay, yeah. But then tomorrow I'm actually going to see the results of this conversation.
I got you.
So then it's about listening, having the conversation, listening.
Not only knowing the love language, what does the practical, give us an example of pulling that out and going 1,000,000% in.
I think one of my favorite gifts that he gave me was our anniversary. And what he did was he took pictures that, as a matter of fact, one of them was on the flyer. And the pictures that we took, we never did print them. Just got busy, and we posted them on Facebook and so on and so forth, but we never printed them. So what he did was he had them framed and he printed them. And I was like, oh, because it was something we had been meaning to do, and then you forget and you get busy. And I was
Follow
like,
through.
man, you thought about it before I did. But then I was so happy. And of course, the frames actually matched our room. And I was like, this is so thoughtful. And of course, another one now, my love language is receiving gifts.
But that works. Okay.
Yes, it does. So the other one, I'm a purse girl. And so he got me an expensive purse. I was like, cha-ching. So those are some of the things that, you know, and then, but it can also be something small. Sometimes he gets me like, if he knows I've had a stressful week, he'll get a Snickers bar. And I'm just happy he thought about me. You know what? You went to the gas station. Thank you, babe.
So
he always starts with so.
Yeah.
This is a caliber question.
The house that we're living in now, we have moved. It's been almost 2 years. And when we packed to move, this was funny. Kenny would write notes. She would write notes. And when we packed to move, I kept finding notes that I had not come across over time. You know, it was just little small pieces of paper, and it would be in a drawer somewhere. And I'm like, man, I haven't opened this drawer in a year. Open the drawer, and there's a note in there that I probably should have seen a year ago.
Wow. Now, were these love notes or just?
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're love notes. Oh, that is nice.
Yeah.
That's a great tip. That's a great little key. So
so then we talk about love language. One of my biggest love languages is words of affirmation. And that was it right there, you know, just touching me there. And I won't forget that. I mean, just packing and opening up a box that was packed and there was a love note sitting in there.
Wow.
You know, like I didn't put this in here, right? So
here comes the music. It's getting mushy time. Just wave your hand, folks, because you know it's going down. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, but that's the biggest thing for me. You know, like I say, the words of affirmation. I love to know that, you know, anything that I've done is appreciated.
Right.
You know, considering now, you know me. I mean, there's a lot that I do, right? I mean, I'm running. So, that really opens something, you know, wakes something up inside of me, right?
Amen. Hallelujah. We'll just leave it there. That's a PG-13 move right there. So as we wrap that part up, and then we can wrap this. So 3 things you got to tell each other. 3 things 24 years later, like 24 years later, why do you love Kenny even more? Or what is it that those 3 things, not something that happened when you first met the Oakwood experience, blah. Kenny to Kenya, same thing. 3 things. King first. Let's go King first.
All right.
Yeah, get that position, brother, because you know what's going down next, brother.
Need to see your eyes. No. First, what I love about you, even 24 years later, Kenya has this thing where every moment is a teaching moment, right? Everything is, you know, something happens, and then one of her favorite things is, see? That's what you said, what you do, right? What I love about you, Kenya, is how you love our sons. And not just our sons, but all of their quote unquote brothers, because there's like 1,000 of them in it. So that's one thing that I love a lot about you now. The other is, I know I said, you know, that I fell in love with your smile and your voice, and that's what I fell in love with. And you know what? That has been consistent.
Wow.
That has not changed. It's always been that way. And even to this day, in the middle of the day when you call, you know, and you know, when you call my phone, that big smiling face shows up on my phone, you know. So that I still love that. And the most important thing, what I love most about you, Kenya, is that you are the embodiment of the love of Christ. You have, when I tell you, no matter what I do, I know I stay in the doghouse. It's a joke. I sleep on the couch more than I sleep in the bed. It's a joke.
It's just a joke.
Yeah, well, I was you would be 24 years and you sleep on the couch.
But after these 24 years, the way you love me, the way you show your love to me, only Christ can love someone like me that much. And I appreciate you for that. Yeah.
Wow. You got to top down. I don't know. That's a deep one right there.
I'm going to go back to your giftedness, because that is really what I love most about you. Um, and just that you can do anything. Nothing is really a challenge for you. So it doesn't matter if it's fixing the car or fixing a cell phone or fixing the sink or just anything. If singing and music and all the things that I love, you also love. And all the creativity that you have, and then even with starting our business, all those things really matter to me. And the more we live and the more that we grow, the more gifts I see. And I'm just so happy that God blessed me with someone like you because it really just, you talked about equally yoked before,
Yeah.
but that really fits me. And so it makes me closer to you because you're so gifted. Also, the silliness. I love to laugh. You know me. So you being so silly. And then I'm silly too. And everybody doesn't know that, but I am silly.
You do now.
So that really helps us in our marriage even. And I think the last thing is your spiritualness, which has grown over the course of time. In our earlier years, we were both young and, we were in church and everything was great. But then seeing the maturity in your relationship with Christ and even in your ministry at church, I absolutely love that. And when you're on stage and you're singing and I'm behind you, I'm definitely grinning in because I'm singing back up and I'm barely getting through the song because I'm gleaming over my husband singing.
Michael said that the first time we went to a couples retreat was after we had been married 10 years. But before we even got married, we were always learning and growing. When we were in Guam, there was a Focus on the Family series that was going on at the base, and it was about marriage and relationships. And before we even got married, we went together to see that. Now, after we got married, life just kind of kicked in and we didn't do that, as much. And so when we started, 10 years later, realizing that, hey, we need to do something. And we had seen friends of ours that were in the church that were married and they were getting divorced. And we were like, we do not want to go out like that.
Right.
And so we started looking and learning. And then every time we learned something, we would share it, and we would drive from Huntsville to Berrien Springs in the summer because I was a teacher and we had summers that were free. We would drive there. We would spend the night, spend the weekend at the dorm. The two of us in a dorm together, as if we were college students.
That's cool though.
And I mean, it was fun. I mean, and it was exciting. We did this for 6 years?
Yeah.
At least 6
Wow,
years we did that. Every summer we would do that. And we would take the kids, drop them off in Detroit.
Right.
But that's where my mom was.
Right.
And we would go there, spend the weekend, and we would talk all the way down there and we would talk all the way back. And we were learning and growing. And then, we did for 15 years, we did couples retreats at Gulf Shores. And we had workshops and things there. But now, this is what's happening now. We are going on these trips. And every time we come back from a trip, we plan where we're going to go to the next one.
Wow.
So
wow.
last year, we went and spent 10 days in Florida. We started at the top of Florida and went all the way down to the Keys. Each night we camped at a different place. And we would get up and we sightsee. And then later on in the year, we went to see the New England states. So
Okay.
when it got
So you
cold,
up
we
my
went.
way.
Yeah, when it was cold, we went down south. But when it was warm, we went up north.
Right.
And so life is one big adventure with him, and we're just having fun. We've got an empty nest, but I mean, it's okay. We know because we did a lot of the hard work early, and now
Wow,
we're
that's
reaping the benefits of it. And so we don't have to work as hard, but we know we have to do something because if we don't continue to spend time together and do something, we will lose what we built.
Yeah.
You know.
Also, I wanted to add that
Yes.
as she was talking, I thought about the fact that how important it is when you learn something, if you share with other people, it kind of cements it in your heart. So we love doing workshops, sharing what we've learned with others because we grow from that experience. And so we continue to share. This year, the Lord put on my heart, well, actually last year, to do an 8-part series on relationships because of COVID, we weren't traveling as much, and we weren't going to a lot of churches, so we decided to do something digitally online. And from that 8-week series of us sitting down sharing what we've learned about marriage, it actually brought us closer together because now we're communicating, we're planning. So I would encourage couples that have been married for a while, share what you've learned with somebody else. If you've been married for 4 years, share what you've learned with other people because they're really wanting to hear, how do you stay happy? How do you stay focused? How do you keep that joy in your heart? And they want to see that. So be willing to share that with other people.
And it blesses you.
Right.
You know,
we can see it. We can see it. So here we go. We talked about that spiritual balance, obviously. We talked about, and how many grandkids? I was looking at your bio and I was like, oh man, I don't need to read all this. We're just going to talk about it. So how many children do you have that are successful? What are they doing? And then also grandchildren. All right, let's go.
So we've got 4 successful children, and we consider successful. They're grown and gone. They're not at home, so they're successful.
But they're more than just that, though.
Right. They're more
he's like, baby, they gotta go.
Yeah. The other thing about our kids is they have their own personal relationship with Christ. We feel that's important. If you can pass out what you believe about Christ, and we tell our kids, we love you, but guess what? God loves you more. We'll be more than happy to help you, but we're going to get on our knees and pray when you come to us. You don't have to come to us. You can go straight to God yourself. You have that own relationship. So we encourage our kids and grandkids, we have 10 grandkids, to have their own walk with the Lord in the spiritual journey. That way they can grow themselves.
Wow.
We have, he forgot to mention, we also have a great grand.
Okay,
and one more is due this month. Okay. So we should have granddaughter number 2 by the end of February.
Wow.
And
our tribe is growing.
Right, it has.
But you know what? In biblical times and even in times of African descent, what made you a very wealthy and a very prosperous person was family. When you had lineage.
Yes.
Lineage. The Bible says that children are the heritage of the Lord. And you all have lived a life, 38 years and left legacies that are they're not dead, but they're alive and well.
That's good. That's
good.
Alive and well.
That's good.
You don't look 38 years later. Y'all definitely don't. I mean, well, you cut, you're doing work, man. I thought I was doing all right, but I got to work it out. So, so let's do this. I want to shift real quick. Conflict, because I've asked each couple the same thing.
Right.
How have you been able to either minimize, eliminate, or discard conflict, realizing that we're sinners or individuals that are not perfect?
Let me jump on that. I have to self-disclose. I'm going to tell you up front. Okay, Ardella has got a lot of training in conflict resolution with her employer. So she made it kind of easy. Let me just put that out there first. She's got a lot of training on that. The second thing, too, is that I've learned that when it comes to things that we disagree, she sees red, I see blue. I've learned to ask her a question. How important is this 1 to 10? If it's a 9 or 10 to you and it's a 7 to me, you make the decision.
Wow.
So a lot of things that we get to, it's like, it's a 2 to me. That's not even important. So you make the decision. Let's move forward.
Okay.
I don't want to deal with it. But if we both saying 9,
it's serious.
She has to bring out the skills then. Conflict. We got to sit down. There's a process you got to go through. We're gonna have a need. We're gonna be talking. Out.
Baby, I really want to keep this going for 39. Let's go. We'll pull the stats out. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Yes.
So a couple of things. One of the things that I'm trying to remember, who was it? Might have been Kenya. Yeah, Kenya, I think, had mentioned the fact that she was an introvert and she didn't like conflict. Well, I'm like that as well. Don't like conflict. But I found out over the years that if I stuff my feelings and I don't express them, then it comes out when I don't expect it and I'm not feeling my best. So when we got the training for conflict resolution, it helped me to be able to find a positive way to get it out as opposed to holding it in. So that's one of the things that is great about Michael, is that if I say, honey, we need to talk, or we used to say, we need to have a need meaning we need to, touch and hold and agree, and we need to talk. And we don't fuss either. We have conversations. Then he knows that I've got something deep on my heart and I want to share with him. And we don't, there was a time when we used to do needy needs quite a bit, but now, for the most part, on a day-to-day basis, we can deal with the things that we have. But one of the other things that I learned in one of our trainings was about emotional needs, and the fact that if your emotional cup is filled with negative emotions, then you can't feel love.
Okay.
And so one of the things that I have learned how to do is to empty out. If I feel like there's something in me that I'm going to say, and if I say it, I know it's going to hurt him, and I don't want to hurt him.
Right.
You know, I'm learning how to, first of all, hold back. You know, not say it quite, so soon, and then learn how to say it. A nice way to say it. But my favorite expression for dealing with conflict is what I call grace and space. We've got to give each other's grace, and we do. He gives me grace, I give him grace. That means we are forgiving of the wrongs that we do, because we're human, so we're going to hurt each other. We don't intentionally do it. He never intentionally hurts me. I don't intentionally hurt him, but we do. And so we give each other grace. We also, though, give each other space to figure out the things that we know we need to do. Right. There are some things that we've been convicted of, or we learned that, say for instance, respect. I know that I'm supposed to respect him, but sometimes I'm not sure how to make that work. He will give me the space I need to figure that out. And when I go to the Lord and tell the Lord, this is what I need to do, then the Lord will help me to figure it out and work through those things. So grace and space. And the other thing that the space will do is it will give me chance to recharge. Michael recharges differently than I recharge.
Right. That makes sense.
And so when I give him the space to go, he will drive to Memphis for a bike ride. Makes no sense to me. But if it's a nice day, he will drive to Memphis for a bike ride, a 45-minute bike ride. And when he comes back, he is happy, energetic, and fine. Take that 6 hours and go to Memphis and have your 45-minute, bike ride, or Chattanooga or Nashville or wherever. And so he gets his space that he needs to recharge. He gives me that same space.
Wow.
So we give each other grace and space so that we can be our best selves. And it's so nice and free to be able to be who you want to be, who God intended for you to be, because you've got somebody supporting you and giving you what you need.
You talk about the bedroom being on fire. The bedroom is on fire, right? Because you ain't got no debt. I mean, come on.
Straight turn up and it's somebody. Right?
You can really enjoy what God has really intended in terms of marriage. But when you have debt, it just takes a lot of the energy. And so for me, I would tell young married couples, avoid debt. It can really mess up your relationship, because a marriage is, sometimes they don't even make it because the debt
so high.
Yeah, they just, you stop talking about it and end up going separate ways. It can really mess up relationships. So I get that together. If you get your debt and get your finances together, I think it's going to make the bedroom even more sexy. It's going to sizzle it up, really. I can guarantee it. Wife will be shouting around the bedroom.
Dude smile. He's like this. Boy, let's get your bills right. You're going to be like, woo! Yeah. Okay, what's up, Ardella? What's up?
Okay, so Michael is much more romantic than I am. And he's the one that's always got he's setting the atmosphere with the music, and he's got the candles, and he's
his head,
right. So, but one of the things that has happened, our children are gone, but right now I am caregiver for my mom. My mom is 95, and she lives with us.
Okay.
And so we have a house that is completely paid for, that we were living in, but all the bedrooms and bathrooms are upstairs. And we could not bring mom to live in that house. Michael has graciously, with no problems whatsoever. He's decided that we were going to move into something else on one level. And so we have a one level house that we're now in with mom. But it's more like this is her house and we're there with her, as opposed to our house. So what happens is that when we want to have some alone time and, a date or whatever, we go over to the other house. Amen. And Michael has it, he'll have it set up. He's got, he's got it, everything all fancy and everything. And we can just have our time over there. Doesn't cost anything. And right now, because of COVID, we haven't been really going out to eat, but we'll order and bring the food over there and sit down and enjoy. And So we have been finding creative ways to still have fun, enjoy each other, and do things that are fun and romantic.
Also, I would say too, as you age, you got to be more mindful of your health. So take care of yourself, eat right, exercise, so that as you get older, you can still do the things that you want to do with your spouse. And so I don't take any medications. Thank the Lord, my wife cooks a lot of vegetarian meals. She takes care of me. She keeps me happy. Uh, she doesn't take any medications or anything like that. So we feel really blessed. I heard someone say that your health is your wealth.
Yes.
So as we get older and older, I'm just surprised. Somebody would have told me when I was 20 that when I got my ARP card, that I would still be trying to do something. I was like, no, I'll be sitting down. But you realize you take care of yourself. You can do what you're doing at 20. As you age, just take care of yourself. That's all I would encourage young people to just think long term.
Yeah.
When you think about marriage, relationship, a life partner, think about the fact that you don't get to choose your parents. You don't get to choose your sisters and brothers, but you do get to choose the person you marry. So when you make that choice, take your time.
Yeah.
Choose this person, because this is one man, one woman for life.
Yeah.
This is the person you want to spend the rest of your life with. And so take that time that you need to do that. Then you can get older together.
You're each other's best friend. What does that look like on a given day, and why is it the most important?
Right. So for me, Ardella and I, we like to walk and talk. So we spend a lot of time walking and talking. And I really think just walking is a blessing to me. To walk and not be winded. It's a blessing to me to walk a half mile, 2 miles, and feel good about it. So we both can do that. And I know some of my colleagues, they can't.
Yeah.
Because they physically have challenged themselves. And so I realize the blessing the Lord has given us our health. So for us, a good day is being able to just spend some time together, walk and talk. We're bonding that way. Ardella, what does that look like to you?
Well, for me, I would say that being able to not just walk and talk, but for us to be able to start our day off in prayer and devotion, that is very, very good. That is very important. And to be married to someone that loves the Lord, and because he loves the Lord, now he loves you. That is, that's what helps to make our friendship what it is. We've got a basic foundation that began with friendship, but is now, a foundation for our marriage that can't be beat. And because of that, and one of our favorite devotional books is The Love Dare, and it was based off of a movie, I think, Courageous.
It's Courageous.
Yeah, and such thought-provoking, messages and information. And we will listen to it and we'll talk. And the thing is, we have used this devotional book for years. It's coming apart. But every year we go back again and we start it again. And it's like, wow, okay, you know what? I don't even remember that we did this last year. But you learn something new. It's kind of almost like when reading the Bible. As you read more and more, you learn more and more. And I feel this because we're further along in our journey or whatever. But it is nice for your friend to be equally yoked with you spiritually, emotionally, in every other way. And that he's got your back and he's there. And so that's what I would say.
Well, I want to say thank you for taking time to share. Like every couple that has been up here this evening has, wow, I mean, I'm taking it in because I'm like, boy, I got work to do. And I know there's so many listening to you and watching this show. Any closing thoughts?
First of all, I want to say thank you for your vision in this ministry. I think this is what young people need, see real people who real talk, sharing their journey. And so thank you for this opportunity.
Let me tell you something. What you shared was, if you notice, everyone had something very different.
Right.
And there were several keys, and then there were life lessons. Then there were, this is actually how we do it, try it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was, in the moments that you don't, and conflict. I mean, these are the things that kill marriages.
Right.
These are the things that draw us back in our corners, and we go from a love relation to a hate competition. And I just am very appreciative of your time. Now,
well, I have one other thing though. You said conflict is one thing that kills marriages, but I think another thing that kills marriages is that when people get married, there are different roles that people play in the marriage, and it helps the marriage to go, and keep it going. And sometimes because of stress, overwork, overcommitment, your jobs or whatever, somebody gets tired and says, I don't want to do this role anymore. I have been doing this for umpteen many years and it's your turn now. I've been doing this and I'm giving it to you. And one of the things you have to realize is that the Lord put two people together so that they could complement each other. And what you've been doing, what you've been bringing to the table to this relationship, the other person can't just walk in and do that thing and do it well. And so you have to, part of conflict is when something happens, being able to go to the other person and say, hey, I'm feeling overwhelmed. I'm doing this, what's going on? And realizing that something has changed, find out what it is and deal with that, and not just feel like I'm so tired now, you take it. So I think that that's one thing too, that people need to realize that you cannot just do that. You've got to come up with some other way of figuring out how you're going to make this thing work.
Always there, I can feel your light. You make me the happiest guy in the world. 'Cause you're my...
Well, I hope that you have been totally blessed. I want to say a very special thank you to first all of our couples that took the time to share such amazing keys, tips, life lessons, to-do lists, and even things that we can prepare for to be a better self, have a better relationship, have the best relationship, so that we can home in on really, truly what true love is, looks like, and what it could continues to be. So on behalf of us here at No More Dirty Inc., No More Dirty Studios Films, and the whole gamut of supporters, we want to say thank you to all of our supporters. I want to definitely say a big shout out, G93 Radio, thank you so much. Ed Gaines, First Lady Gaines, a special shout out to our production team led out by Professor X and also DJ Scissorhand. Want to say a big shout out to, the music that was played was an artist, Ronnie. Man, Ronnie, this guy is amazing, Ronnie Johns. And let me get my phone because I just want to recognize there's a co-production there, and they are amazing. So let me do that first because I think it's just so important that we recognize them. So, and then I also want to say a special thank you to all of our sponsors that made this happen. And then thank you for all those that continue to do the things that they do. I want to thank Mrs. Sharon Williams. She is a co-writer of that song that you all danced to. And we want to say a big special to Ronnie Johnson Jr. And then to all the artists, Rive Music Video Productions that provided the videos. We want to say thank you. And to all of you all that took the time on this special day. You might be across the world seeing this because we do it virtually worldwide. So if it's your daytime or your nighttime, we want to say thank you.